So with this, let me announce the final session, which will be dedicated to sustainability communications. Ms. Sara Gabai, who is a communication expert of SCP facility and member of our team, will be speaking to us about sustainability communication, effective strategies to do it, and link it all to the behavior, which is one of the absolutely key elements for transition towards sustainable consumption and production in circular economy. Sara, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Zinaida. Do you see my presentation clearly?
Yes, yes, we do.
Okay, perfect. So I have the most difficult task today to entertain our friends before the lunchtime. So I will try to make the presentation as best as possible. Exactly. So today we want to understand why communications and why now. We have seen the now in the 2 days of CALP that sustainability is moving forward and it's entering in our consciousnesses as never before. Many times we're hearing sustainability or sustainability issues. And what we see actually is that all stakeholders want sustainability nowadays. Millennials, people post-millennials, civil society, businesses, governments, financial institutions, but also employees in companies and organizations, customers, consumers. In fact, today, consumers expect companies to even explain how they are addressing major global challenges. This could be from climate change, but also, for example, covering human rights. These issues are interrelated and interconnected. So another important notion is that sustainability sells. And this is also why many people are interested in sustainability. There is, according to several studies, increasing evidence that consumers are willing to pay an extra, a premium, for brands that promise sustainability compared to those brands that are non-sustainable. So this is a very interesting point to take into account. I just want to tell you a good news. There has never been a better time to tell your sustainability story. And while the purpose of my session today, unfortunately, is not to teach you how to tell you your sustainability story and create your communications plan, maybe we can organize this the next time, I will try to cover as much as possible some key concepts that will help you communicate effectively about sustainability. First of all, it is important to say that companies are trying to connect with different audiences on more sustainability issues. This is already a very good update. And how are they trying to do so? Basically, through communications, they're trying to explain sustainability in a more understandable way. So the first step to effectively communicate sustainability is to make it easier to tell and easier for people to relate to. My dear friends, I'm a strong believer that creativity can save the world. Oh yes, but the mission is very hard. And I'm telling you this on my from my personal experience. Sustainability is complicated, but the ideas of sustainability actually are easy for everyone to understand. For example, I'm sure that in this room of Zoom, and I wish we were there in person, we can all agree that it's so important to preserve nature, to avoid the worst impacts of climate change, to work for a more sustainable and equal world. We all want these things for us and future generations. If not, we will not be here at CALP today. And so I want to show you some of the designs that we have created for Switch Asia, for example. There is no shortage of sustainable products, services, sustainable lifestyles out there. But the truth is that people are still not choosing them. I want to pose the questions to you. When you're washing your clothes at home, for example, what kind of program are you setting in your washing machine? Did you know that putting a quick wash program will allow you to save water and energy? It takes just 3 seconds to do this. When you're spending the day at home or going to the office, are you using a reusable bottle to carry your water or your coffee? Also, this is something that can make an impact. When you're at the coffee shop, are you drinking from single-use plastic items such as straws, or you're choosing to refuse the plastics? Are you washing yourself with liquid soap, or you're gonna choose to use the hard soap, this one that you see here on the screen? And this is just to show you that there's so many solutions out there. And for sure, people want a sustainable world. But words are not matched with actions. While we want to jump from this fishbowl, majority of the population, majority of organizations and people are still not buying into sustainability. And what is the problem? The problem is what we call in communications stock sustainability. And I want to argue that the progress on sustainability is still being held back by those who communicate about these issues without a strategy and without creativity. So communication plays a crucial role in how sustainability is gonna be uptaken by people. The reason here, according to Giulia Giannini, is that we are in this problem, big problem, because scientists, academics, insiders have often been in charge of communicating sustainability. But let me tell you that carbon dioxide levels, degrees of global warming, environmental concepts will not motivate behavior change. We need to really call in the communication experts, the marketing experts that know about sustainability issues and that will be able to express them in a user-friendly manner. There are also some challenges in sustainability that we must consider. First of all, privilege. There's really a limited number of different backgrounds and perspectives in sustainability, which often leads to a one-sided communication that doesn't reach to many diverse audiences. So, for example, most of the practitioners that work in sustainability, according to several research, have a master's degree, might have a PhD, might have a bachelor, but those who are most affected by sustainability issues or development work are those most vulnerable and disadvantaged. So how can we communicate these challenges to those who are most affected? Another issue is barriers. And here we see it already in this Zoom call, how our session is luckily translated in Russian and English. English is often the dominant language of sustainable development. Just Google it, Google some resources, you will see that English resources are much more than resources in other languages. Also, Western perspectives are quite dominant compared to other perspectives that are more culture and context sensitive. And also, if we see in mainstream media, it is mostly Western voices that speak about sustainable development compared to other voices. With Switch Asia, we are trying to address this issue by bringing back the voices of Asian communities into the global debate. And last but not least, a huge problem that we face is, a huge problem that we face is that we are not thinking across boundaries. We are thinking in silos. How can something like economy and the environment be treated as separate? It is not possible. The two are interrelated and interconnected. And our job as communicators is to show the missing links. So very important is what our colleagues also mentioned in different sessions, system thinking. We must absolutely look at the bigger picture because nothing exists in isolation. So for example, every action that we do or the way we produce affects the impact that we will have on our environment. And I really invite you to see live every gesture that you take from now on in a framework of system thinking. It will change your life, trust me. So what are some issues that we can overcome in a simple way? As we have seen, and often we see it, complex jargon and technical terms will not allow us to understand the sustainability issues at stake. We are common human beings, and what we want is to be entertained or to learn in an easy way what we are talking about. As of now, the sustainability jargon becomes and is too technical for all of us to understand. And people attention span goes down if they start not understanding what we're talking about. So the solution is really to keep it simple, to keep it clear, to keep it accurate, and also be careful not to oversimplify. We need to find the right balance. If not, they will not take us seriously. Also, sustainability is a very abstract and complex idea. You know that many experts also don't agree on the definition of sustainability. So imagine how the common human beings can define sustainability if even the experts are finding it challenging. Explaining sustainability is hard. Visualizing sustainability is even harder. And engaging people with sustainability is extremely difficult. So people often feel very distant from sustainability. And so they say, it doesn't touch me personally, let's forget about it. Luckily, not the people in this meeting, but the majority of the population is different from you. So what we can do is to be more specific and bring sustainability closer to our home. We can do this by using cool design, images that can be the bridge between the issues at stake and our life. So when I mean bring it closer to home, actually, it means bring it inside the home, the change. Now in Thailand it's very hot, and we always use the air conditioning, unfortunately, because we couldn't be in a room without aircon. It's very hot. So we can save energy in our home by just putting the aircon at a temperature that will make us feel still comfortable, but is not too low. The lower we go, the more money we blow. So just a simple action, if many people do it, can bring about change. Also, every one of us in our home has a refrigerator. Did you ever think that the refrigerator is one of the appliances that is always on in our home? We never turn it off. Sometimes when we're traveling, we even put the temperature a bit lower, or everyone has their own ways. So tonight, when you're having dinner, think about it. Don't put your leftovers hot as they are in the refrigerator. Let them cool them a bit, because this will also reduce the amount of heat added into your fridge. This is really practical, but it's about knowledge sharing and being aware. For me, language is power. And the problem, though, as several of my colleagues mentioned, if certain language is overused, it can really lose its meaning. How many times do we hear the words sustainability, responsibility, consciousness? So many times. And what happens is this phenomenon that both Anne and Lorraine also mentioned, the phenomenon of greenwashing. Greenwashing is basically when the brands deliberately mislead consumers about their environmental performance or about the environmental benefits of their products. In other words, they're selling us as something as sustainable, but in practice, it's not sustainable at all. And there was a study conducted, a very interesting one by Radley Yelder, that basically tracked what are the main cliches used by top brands of the world. And in their communication about their services, about their products, they always use these same words. Our commitment, we are committed, the sustainable future, the planet. And during COVID times, we have often heard build back better. But what do this terminology means if we take it out of the context? So this is just to show you how sometimes words can lose their meaning if used not in a correct manner. In the same research that the Radley Yelder has done, they show that sustainability, the word sustainability actually was repeated 10 times on each web page of the top 50 brands on Forbes. Meaning that me as an organization, I repeated 10 times sustainability to explain what I'm doing. But the most sustainable brands only use the word one time. And they have understood that these words are used and abused, let's say, over the years. And they don't believe anymore in the power of using these words to convince audiences. We need to find new strategies now. I want to share with you this example from the conscious campaign of H&M. I don't know if you might all be aware of who H&M is. They are a strong player in what Lorraine has called fast fashion, and they are moving, taking steps to improve their sustainability operations. We know that because they also have become in the Switch Asia network, showing an interest to learn and to do things better. So let's analyze a bit this marketing for the H&M Conscious Collection. What do we see? We see many slogans that invite the consumer to let's innovate, let's clean up, let's be conscious, let's take care, let's change together. And this is when it comes to the text. When it comes to the visuals, what we see is fruits, plants, and clothes with earth colors. Think about it one moment. Does this picture match? Yes, there are symbols that show us something related to nature, but these visuals have nothing to do with the production process of the collection of H&M. I don't think we're buying t-shirts made of grapes, to be honest. And this is why this campaign was also criticized for misleading consumers in believing that this is sustainability, while it is not. Also, how the words are being used actually is misleading H&M buyers into believing that by purchasing these clothes, they are encouraging an environmental initiative. But nowhere we are educated on how and why this collection is conscious, how it contributes to more sustainable production. All this, the true cost of fashion, is never mentioned. And it would have been a better strategy to of course, create an appealing marketing strategy, but also communicate the impact of the production process on water pollution, water consumption, the microfibers that goes in our ocean, the waste problem, the chemicals problem, the CO2 emissions, and so on. So beautiful is a good strategy, but knowledgeable is even better. So sustainability communication sometimes works best when brands don't even mention the term sustainability and instead talk about topics, talk about themes. This is another example I want to juxtapose to the H&M example. Maybe many of you have heard about Patagonia because it's a sports outdoor brand. And I know that in Central Asia, you have the most beautiful landscapes, the most beautiful mountains, the most beautiful ski slopes. So I'm sure that you wear these kind of jackets. And this is an advertisement that actually was published in 2011 on the New York Times during the Black Friday. The Black Friday is that time of the year, for those who don't know, where there's so many discounts in the shopping malls and people just run to go to buy, to shop. Patagonia tells consumers, don't buy this jacket on this day. And basically this message was constructed to encourage people to consider the effect of consumerism on the environment and buy only what you need. So in a way, this communication, the way it was planned, is promoting more responsible consumption. What does it mean this? Does Patagonia don't want to sell their jackets? Oh my God, no, of course Patagonia want to sell their jacket, but the way they're doing it is through promoting anti-consumerism. And this strategy actually, surprise, has built a lot of loyalty from the consumers that love to be more sustainable, more eco-friendly. And even though the word sustainability is never mentioned in their campaign, basically they are taking steps forward through the circular approach and explaining how the brand is promoting sustainability without ever mentioning the word sustainability. So stock sustainability will lead to reduced audience engagement because it's not interesting if everyone speaks the same. And the solution is to say it your way, to reject the cliches and to find your distinctive voice. But also, you have to be positive. The communication sustainability is extremely alarmistic, negative, and scary, and people will not buy into it. We need to offer alternatives and solutions. Visualizing sustainability is also very important. And if people are not attracted, they will not buy into sustainability and into sustainable lifestyles. So we are all familiar with these visuals and we have all used it once. But these visuals are distant and don't mean actually are empty visuals. They don't mean anything. And therefore, we are discouraged from using these. But don't worry, even the world-leading brands have fallen into stock sustainability. 19 out of 20 brands actually fall in these top cliches. So we're all here to learn by doing. And what we have to do is to consider design from the start. And what we can do is to abandon visual that show sustainable energy, for example, like this, and transform their visual to something more like this. This is our report and is produced with ink made from just 1 week of pollution. This strategy lets us put the issue right in the hands of the people. Reduce for waste. Let's stop representing food waste like this. People don't consciously waste food. They're not aware. But if we tell people instead to make a list, a smart list before they go grocery shopping and just to buy what they need, that's a good intervention that can switch people's behaviors. Just the last examples. You might recognize this label as eco-friendly, but our communication does not have to necessarily look eco-friendly. It has to be desirable. And especially when we talk about fashion, This t-shirt and this tag is made from waste, and it's worn by people with taste, people who have a sensibility to fashion, style, and sustainability. In practice, and this is the last slide, communication planning and content design can really make the difference between a message that will have an impact and one that will be ignored. And planning your communications and learning how to communicate will allow you to target the right messages to the right audiences at the right time, allowing you to be heard. So thank you so much. I'm sorry that I had to rush a little bit at the end. I wish we had more time, but I'm available to engage with you further and on the communication topics. Thank you.